This conference will now be recorded.
Am I audible? So I hope all of you have installed SAP software and you are working. Suppose if you have any doubts regarding for how to use this SAP, how to log in, then how to start, and what problems you are getting. So just to inform me, so before I start up this session, I'm getting call and I'm getting some messages when you are switching on SAP machine. There is some XYZ errors, okay, and not get compatibility hardware wise, software wise. And if you try to open them, there is some service exception error. So like that, system is going to be throwing error messages. So anybody is facing any problem, unmute your mic and share your problem if you have. So once again, from our end, I will be confirming you to install SAP virtual machine into laptop. We required certain hardware requirement. There is some requirement. In that first one, processor must be i3, i5, i7. Among this, any one of the processor is suitable. And next thing is RAM. When it comes to RAM, so if there is 8 GB is good, it is recommended. Then hard disk storage capacity. This is again third time I am repeating this. You have not installed already. Somebody is installed without any configuration like this. If you try to open, then that give you means throw you that some error messages. So not to happen again and again. So that's why. If you did not practice properly, so it's waste of time. Hard disk storage capacity minimum 300 GB. Free space is required in C drive, or this might be in D drive, or any partition, E drive, any drive. But if there is 300 GB, then it's enough. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, it shows up an error message whenever I play that thing. The person who came to install also, he told me that if this won't work, you get another laptop so I can install. But I don't have another laptop that has so much storage space, sir.
Okay, but what error message is displayed?
Sir, it says there is some error files that are detected, and it'll restart after that, and nothing happens. It just stays in the desktop.
That's what it's restarting, and that resumes, means that return back into the same old position. Correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it available right now?
What, sir?
Is that laptop, is that available?
Yes, sir. I should switch it on because it wasn't working. I did not use it again. I tried multiple
Okay.
times, sir. Nothing happens.
Now what you do is, whatever error message is coming, right, just you post that into WhatsApp group,
Okay.
and you inform that what is the problem you are facing in that. Okay. And
Okay, sir.
I will take your call and I can rectify that error.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that is the
Yes.
reason I'm starting this session, because so many people are coming and asking, sir, so and so on problem I'm getting. You,
Yes.
I cannot able to practice regularly. So this is the
Yes.
problems what I'm getting the problems from you, students point of view.
Yes. But I
So
have
this all.
students, sir. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay, what you do is install any desk software, and you share me that number. Okay, and I can take your call and I can rectify that problems. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will share that in WhatsApp.
Yeah, share it, share it.
In the
Or else
group,
you,
right?
so in the group itself, or else make yourself free and inform to your coordinator. From our team used to come and rectify the problems. Okay, in that way also
Oh,
I can help you. So we'll
okay,
try
sir.
to do some best ways. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
this is about the, yes. This is all about hardware requirement. Now next, when it comes to software requirement, your operating system must be 64-bit operating system, Windows, and that should be latest one. Might be a Windows 10 or Windows 7. So which is installed the service pack 3 or 2, anything. Okay, but that operating system must be what, 64-bit operating system is required. That is comes to uh, software wise. Okay, and next thing is, there is virtual VMware workstation. VMware workstation 12.5 version. So this is also one of the software which will have the compatibility to run SAP virtual machine. Okay, see this. That is to install SAP virtual machine. Already I said. Okay, we are not installing. It's already installed in the virtual machine. To run that virtual machine, this is our hardware requirement and this is our software requirement. So what our person has done is, there is around 260 GB hard disk, means SAP virtual machine file will be having, that is been means copied into your hard disk, which will have C drive 300 GB, D drive 300 GB, or E drive 300 GB. That has been copied, and using this VMware workstation, any version like about 12.5. Okay, so using this version, we are trying to open this SAP virtual machine. So this is what I am doing here. Now, could you able to see? We have on this, for example, right now I'm running this VMware Workstation version number 16. I hope you can able to identify this. Okay, this is one requirement here about 12.5 version, but I'm using 16. Okay, and second thing is, by right clicking on this PC, if you check the property, you could able to see what is operating system, which will have around 32-bit or 64-bit. In your operating system, if that copied 32-bit operating system, that never works. Okay, and again you have to immediately have to change your operating system into 64-bit operating system. So wait for a minute, little bit. Yeah, series Windows specification, Windows 10 we have, and system type is 64-bit operating system and 64-bit processor. So to install 64-bit operating system, you must have 64-bit processor. Again, I'm specifying this 64-bit processor. i3, i5, i7, any processor if you purchase, then that must have an architecture like 64-bit processor, and make use of the 64-bit processor, then we require 64-bit operating system. So this is what we have here. So Windows 10 Professional, and this is the latest one right now what we have, and also 64-bit. And as I said, one more criteria, 8 GB RAM. So make ensure here how much GB you have here. So right now I'm using around nearly 6 GB I have, so it's enough. Okay, and next 300 GB free space. It's been copied, then it's working. Okay, and one more, as I said, VMware Workstation 12.5. So in this case we have 16 version. Okay, if everything is okay, then what you have to do is, when you click this option like open virtual machine, or else directly go to file, open, and browse for your file. So this is what I have copied into my hard disk drive. Okay, there is a file called as Windows Server 2003 Enterprise Edition, and the file extension is called as, notice this, VMware Virtual Machine Configuration. So please understand here, the file name is called as VMware Virtual Machine Configuration. Okay, this file needs to be selected. Okay, if you select this, then if you click OK, then automatically again comes to this place in the left hand side library. I hope all of you understood here how to open copied that VMware SAP software. Okay, if you have a SAP software, and if you once it's get installed VMware, sorry, virtual workstation, VMware virtual workstation, open this, and that would allow you to open your SAP virtual machine or virtual software. So by clicking this menu called file and go to open, and select this file. The file name is called as virtual machine configuration. And if you did not understand, what you do is do right click on this and check the property and see the extension called, see this VMX. Okay, which file has the extension called as VMX? Okay, so that file needs to be browsed and needs to be selected to open your SAP. I hope all of you understood. And once if you get or get listed in this library list, then you click on this play button. So here you have in the title bar or in the standard bar also, we can resume this. Suppose, sir, sometimes what I do is I'll turn off this. Now see what happened. It's changed that option into power on this virtual machine. So earlier it was resumed. Okay, now it is in power on this virtual machine option. Suppose in the left hand side the library button or library list, if not that would displayed, then what you do is by clicking on this area you can make enable and disable. So sometimes if you close this also, it remains as empty like this. Okay, so don't be scared. Then what you do is just you click the library button in this list, make enable and disable, and you click on this ECC. Okay, then in the right side then automatically listed that particular parameters. Okay, so again make enable and disable, click the CCC and play the button power on this virtual machine. Click on this. When you opt for this, then automatically VMware will load your SAP software. Now is this one is asking, would you like to move it or would you like to copy it? So most of the peoples, they would get confusion what needs to be selected on this criteria. So it's automatically is recommended for you to press the button for copied it. So click the copy it, then it's loading that into full screen mode. If you would like to exit from the full screen mode, you click this button called stretch full. So this you can make full screen or you can come back also. So this, so this is full screen mode and exit full screen.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
So I was not
Yeah,
feeling well. So I couldn't come to the college that day when you asked us to come and download it. So now how should
okay,
I go about it, sir?
okay. So inform your coordinator once.
Okay, sir.
Okay, inform that, and if they did not take any plan of action, then I will tell you that what has to be done.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
But you are understanding, right? What has to be done?
Yeah, sir.
So now it's loading. Again, make this full screen. So it's taking time for the first time. Okay, now this is asking press Control Alt Delete. Now what you do is, do not press Control Alt Delete. If you press that, then your physical machine, okay, so that would get locked automatically. So what has to be done is holding Control plus Alt plus function key and press insert button from your keyboard. So you can write or you can make note somewhere else. So what has to be done for this prompt? Holding Control plus Alt plus insert. If you press, then that would work as a Control plus Alt plus delete for virtual machine. The shortcut key Control plus Alt plus insert. Okay, so sometimes that insert key which will have two functions, like sometimes print screen or some xyz function it will take. So meanwhile use function key. Okay, then you press one time. Then is asking for username. The default username in this logon screen or in the credential, then ECC Okay, so you don't want to type, then system automatically is updated. Then what you have to be provided is only one thing, that is password India123. The password is India123. ECC is a default username or administrator to get login in this machine and press enter key. Then you select anything and you click OK. So now what happened in this case? Windows Server 2003 SAP server desktop is loaded right now. So now we are in Windows Server 2003 SAP server. Okay, we are using SAP ERP ECC 6.0. But directly do not double click on SAP logon. So people assumes that, sir, by double clicking here, when I'm clicking login button, logon button, then it is throwing an error message by the system. So when I'm clicking on this logon button, see some error message is displayed. So this is what one of the problem when you are operating. So what has to be done is, before double clicking on this logon button, there is an option called as SAP Management Console. In the desktop itself, you have these two icons. The first icon is SAP Management Console, then second icon SAP Logon. So we can able to access SAP machine through SAP Logon GUI and one more web browser. So we are not using through web browser to access SAP. So we are using GUI console, GUI method to access SAP system. But here SAP system itself is not available because still we did not start the services for SAP. So that day I said R3 architecture. So in that R3 architecture, we have three types of layer. One is presentation layer, then application layer, and database layer. So that whatever we have in the SAP logon, that option whatever is provided in this screen, or which is going to be working in the next upcoming project, then that works in the presentation layer. That entire works which are going to be uh, intercommunicating through the presentation layer. But whenever you work on presentation layer, there is an application layer and database layer. So once that would interacted, then only the data that would store in the databases. But how do I start the SAP application server and as well as database server. By double clicking on SAP Management Console, and that you start your services of database server and application server. But in real time, that would be in separate system. Application server is configured in separate machine, separate server, and database it is in separate server. So it depends upon the company budget, the technician team or technical team that would be configured. So now we have most of the options, but the status is not running now. Means the services is not running, because how do I understand here? So that the services is started or not started. So could you able to see here some of the gray color button here, similar like servers. So this all icons which is not showing in green color. So once that would displayed by the green color, we assumes that SAP SAP server services are running. So right now it's completely stopped. So in that case, what has to be done is by right clicking on ECC. So what you have to do is right click on ECC, then you click the start button, then is asking authentication, then provide password is called as India 123, then press enter key. So you have to wait for a while and let's see the changes of the color. So now it is in progress. But you do not work once if you start the services. Okay, do not double click, do not operate anything. Leave it for at least not 2 minutes or 1 minute until that would load all the services into the application server and as well as database servers. Once updated, then automatically that's turned into green color. So I'm waiting for that one. So let's see. So sometimes people would minimizing this and working for other things also. Okay, that is not a matter, but sometimes that would take time to upload all the services and bring into the memory system. Okay, that's why I'm not operating anything. I'm just waiting for uploading the means start the services into the system. I hope all of you have noticed. Now it's running in green color. Okay. So this is completely about, see, again it's turned into yellow color. Do right click and refresh once. So still is loading. Wait for a while. Only for one time you have to do like this. Okay, next another tricks is there that I'll tell you. For the next time what has to be done. But when you get the option called power on this virtual machine, then you have to run this entire process, not to skip anything. If you skip, then your system not to work any list, and also that console never opens, never comes back. So now do refresh after certain time. So everything is uploaded. Okay, then once that would turn into green color, just you click log on and say this, waiting for response. It's trying to communicating from the presentation layer to application layer. Sorry, presentation layer to application layer and database layer. If all that are aligned properly, then everything is working from the presentation layer. Just to minimize this. So just I've requested for SAP logon credential. We'll wait for a while. So now it's loaded your SAP interface. This is your presentation layer. Now this one is asking client number. So client number 800. So 700, 710. Okay. So any series, if that would updated, then we assume that it is training purpose only. Okay. So it depends upon which server they are using in the real time. If that belongs to production live, there is a separate client number. Then development server, then client number is different. Quality assurance server client number is different. Okay, then production live server client number will be different. Okay, so make ensure which uh, wait a minute. So make ensure which category servers you are working in the system landscape. Okay, under system landscape we have three things: development, quality assurance server, then production live server. Then apart from that, one more is training. So right now we are using 800. It comes to training. Then here SAP user. So username is SAP user. So do not use any capital letter. Let it be in small letter. Capital letters, if you type among this list, then that won't work. Then you type password is India 123. Then language is English. So only 4 criteria needs to be entered. Once if you click log on button, that is client number. Client number is most highest organizational unit in this SAP, and username is SAP user and password is India 123. Then directly you can press enter key from the keyboard, or else you can click this green color tick mark. So it's loading. So once successfully is loaded, the credential is updated, then you check SAP Easy Access option. So this is your SAP Easy Access. Clear? Any doubts? From here onwards, already I taught you what has to be done. So up to this much, most of the people would struggling to get this SAP console. Okay, sir, next time if I wanted to run in the same screen, okay, then what has to be done? So what has to be done? So what you do is, so come out from this full screen mode. This is your full screen mode, and there is an option again, use the same button, exit from the full screen, or else do right click on ECC. Okay, there is a power button. Then in that list we have suspend option or suspend guest. Okay, you can either use this one or this one. Okay, so that's your wish, but do not click on this power off, or else restart the client, restart the guest. Again, you have to start from the beginning and start the services, and you have to provide the credential parameter. Okay, so that's why what you do is just right click, then click on this power and suspend the guest. Okay, or else, sir, can we do directly here? Yes, directly you can pause this. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this and say this machine state is saving. So it's hibernating now. So once it's hibernated or paused, then you would get resume this virtual machine. Please understand here, resume this virtual machine. So this is what earlier session what I was paused. So this screen is also updated. This is snapshot. Okay, this also updated what you were using. in the previous session. So that also updated in the screen. And then what you do is to upload that existing one. Just I'll be closing now. Close this one. Double click on SAP, sorry, VMware workstation from the main desktop. Then click ECC Windows Server 2003. Then still you have resumed this virtual machine. Okay, so click on this. Then it's immediately loads that previous session what it was loaded. So don't want to start any services, don't want to provide any username and password. So directly that would remains as same the previous session. How you are saved by putting that option called guest, suspend guest option. Now completely is loaded without any credentials. See, I hope all of you understood. So if that understood, so use the chat box and you type as understood, it's understood itself, and we'll continue the rest of the part. So this has to be taken care by yourself. That's why I've repeated again the first class. So you take a photo if you want for this one. What is hardware requirement and software requirement? And how many layers it works? There is two options. One is power on this virtual machine. Next, resume this virtual machine. What makes the differences here? Use the chat box and you type your answer, how much you understood. Power on this virtual machine, resume this virtual machine. So which loads previous state of the SAP console. Working state of the SAP console. Then what about here? When you click for this power on this virtual machine, what has to be done? So that is very easy for us to understand what is resume this virtual machine. No need to start any option. But in this case, what happened? Hmm? So here, if you opt for which load server 2003 operating system. Once it's loaded, press Control plus Alt plus insert instead of Control plus Alt plus delete. So do not press Control Alt delete. You have to press Control Alt insert. Then is asking username and password. So username is what? Default username ECC ADM. Dynamically updated. Then password that we have to type. Password is India123. Okay. Then press enter key. So this is what we have to load. Okay. When you enter this credential, then loading server 2003 desktop. In that desktop, so in this desktop, there is an icon. What is that? SAP Management Console. So double click SAP Management Console. Then do right click on ECC. Click start. Then enter password. So password is again India 123. So wait until turn into green color. And once it's done, next. Again, you have to double click. Open desktop. Double click on SAP logon. Then click logon option. Then what else? What has to be done? After that, enter credential details. What is the credential detail? Client defaultly, which will have 800, then username, so SAP user, then password, India, 123, then language, EN, then press enter key. So then here loading SAP easy access screen. That's this is all about the presentation layer. So please understand here, presentation layer that works here, presentation layer, and where application layer and database layer that works here. Okay. Once it's loaded this desktop, then double click on SAP Management Console, do right click on ECC. When you enter this password for start the services, then it loads application and database service. Just for your understanding purpose, just I've given this name to classify and understand R3 architecture. So from here, yeah, this that is SAP easy access. Okay, so from SAP easy access, you have two screens. One is IMG screen and SAP easy access screen. Okay, so how do you get IMG mode or IMG screen? Very simple. From SAP easy access, type SPRO. So SPRO in T code bar area or transactional code bar, T code bar. So type SPRO in the T code bar, press enter key. Then you click SAP reference IMG. Now let's see, is that loading or not? This is your T code bar. I'm typing SPRO, press enter key. SAP reference IMG. Right. SAP reference IMG. Then you have display IMG. So this is the main. SAP reference IMG, display IMG. Now what makes the differences here? SAP Easy Access and IMG. IMG stands for Implementation Guide. So here the end users are working, but here consultant are working. There will be a lot of differences here, end user and consultant. And the end users record day-to-day transactions, but here implementing projects and configuration as per business requirement. As per business requirement, the people who are working on this particular plan. So let's have a 5 minutes break, then we'll Okay, so we'll continue the session. So this is the major differences between SAP Easy Access and IMG. So being as an end user, then where you have to work, and sometimes you don't have a privileges to get that IMG screen. When as you type this SPRO, then immediately that would restrict you, saying that you don't have proper privileges, and you have to put a request for the authority people. Then they would change your user role to consultant, or they would give you some more privileges for you to run this SPRO. So this is up to the interfaces. Then from here onwards, when you get this IMG screen, okay, then from here onwards you start creating a company. So being as a Fico consultant, your main responsibility and main configuration is to what? Creating company and company code. Company and company code. That is, as I said, group of companies is called company, and individual company is called company code. And one example for this group company is Tata Groups, and one more Reliance Groups. So these are the example. And for company code, Tata Motors and TCS. In this case, Reliance Fresh, then Reliance Smart, then we have Reliance Digital. So many things. Then where you would prepare individual financial statements is called a company code, and where you would prepare consolidated reports. So here you will be preparing consolidated reports, and here individual financial statements. That's all. And which is the most highest organizational unit when you are configuring as a being as a FICO consultant? Most highest is client. So client is most highest uh, organizational unit in the enterprise structure, and another highest organizational unit is company code. Sorry, company. So company, client, company, and company. So these are all highest organizational units. Here. So from here onwards, you have to start configuring company code. So here you have to start SPRO. OX02, it's a transaction code. If you type, then it's not working. Do you know why? Anybody knows why transaction code is not working here in this screen? So whenever you would like to run transactional code, NICT codes, run from SAP Easy Access screen. So not from IMG screen. So I was running in the IMG screen. See this OX02. If I type, nothing is coming. Okay, then how do I run this? So I'm using /n, press enter key. It's closing this IMG screen, and again type OX02, press enter key, and make ensure what is running in this. So company code setup. Let's take some time. So whenever you have problem, or if you wanted to understand how to run the machine, then how to start SAP. Okay, so today whatever I taught you today, everything is get recorded. So you watch this recorded session and understand and execute. So how to create company and company code, that and all separate videos we have recorded, and also this been posted already. So you follow that and execute that practical things. Again, today I've revised the entire thing, the day one topics, how to start SAP, then what is the step one, what is the step two. Okay, and also I've listed what has to be done in the step 1 2 3. Okay, then you have to remember that always what is the password for SAP interfaces when it's asking for the credentials and all. Then you have to remember what is the username also. Okay, so India 123 is a general password whenever is asking any credential passwords. So now completely it's loaded. Okay, to close, again, if I wanted to run one more code here, then instead of using a /n again and going back into SAP Easy Access mode, again you try to type one more transactional code. So it is simply wasting of time. So in the same screen, what you do is you type /n and type OX15. Okay, so if you wanted to run transaction code from the SAP Easy Access, from the IMG screen, okay, then use /n as a prefix for the entire T code and press enter key. Then it's closing and going back to SAP Easy Access. Then it works for OX16. Clear? So any T codes run from SAP Easy Access, and if you would like to run T codes from IMG menu, IMG screen, use /n as a prefix and you type T code. Example /n OX02. So like this. Any doubts? So today's session completely for revision. Again, don't ask, sir, how to run, what is the step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so follow this. I think this is the best way we can practice. Who have not we have no who have not got installed. So ping me in WhatsApp group. There is person they would reply who have taken that in charge. They'll be communicating with us and they do some plan of action. Clear? So again, I will be not repeating this, and I will continue the new topics. Uh, Whatever I was explaining regarding for interview question, and also some of the topics which I've for left for accounts payable. Correct, right? Posting entries has to be done. So that and all we will see in the next upcoming classes. Okay. So I can give you a time space for you to chat if you have any questions. If you did not understand anything, any small issues, if you're facing, you post in WhatsApp group. There will be other person in the team. They will take care of that issues and they will communicate with you. I hope is that clear? Okay, so see you all in next class. So what you do is whenever you turn off this, so just you pause as it taught you during the class. So to right click on the CCC, power and suspend. If I suspend this, the same working session that resumed. So just like this. And notice this, resume this virtual machine. And directly you can close this by pressing Alt plus F4. Close it again. Exit. That's all. So see you in the next class.